Your name is trending. The moment of the black pane window is open. The economic cycle in Hollywood says, oh, we want black stories, we want black stories, we want black stories. And I didn't even I would be lying to say I didn't think about it or notice that that was what was happening to me, but I didn't care. I just wanted the money. And I wanted, that's a cop-out too. Like, I wanted the money, but I wanted something that felt like love, fame, success. You understand, like you go from artist, writer who's making nothing to all of a sudden like you can buy a kind of a cool car, you can get a new place.
But you're kind of living the American fiction story, right?
Yes.
You're selling black pain.
Selling it.
In your work.
Yes.
And you are personally succeeding.
Yes.
And you are personally bothered by your success.
I'm faking it to a degree.
You're faking how upset you are about it?
No, I'm creating the anger so I can sell it.
The Toure Show. Okay, though. The Toure Show. Okay, though.
That might be the best question I've ever been asked.
You're a phenomenal person. I mean, you legendary.
I am a fan of you, my brother.
Chad Sanders is an amazing writer who wrote a book called How to Sell Out because he blew up in Hollywood and yet he's out here writing about race somehow successfully. Let's get into it. I love this conversation. It's Chad Sanders on Toure Show.
Chad, welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm great. I've been here for probably like half an hour and I drove through Times Square. I'm very energized, as you can probably tell. I'm amped up. I feel great. How do you feel?
I'm good. What is your book about? How to sell out?
Every single time somebody asks me that, I give a different answer. I was thinking this last night. I was like, my least favorite part of every interview is when they're like, sell the book now.
I'm not asking you to sell it.
I know you're not. But even though you're not, that's what you just signaled for me was like, go into that like thing.
Don't sell it.
Yeah.
What is the thesis? What is the heart of the book?
Yeah. I'm doing it now. I'm like, click. The book is about when you have a little tiny bit of success in anything really, but for me, it was in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And for me, it was writing about blackness and pain, honestly, specifically after George Floyd. You have a little bit of success and all of a sudden it feels like a world opens up for you. That's what happened to me, where you're meeting your heroes, you're getting signed, you're getting deals thrown at you, but they all want the same thing from you because you had success with that one thing that one time. And for me, that was writing about how gnarly and painful it is to be a black person.
Mm-hmm. Where was that success?
So George Floyd is murdered by the police. Get on a phone call with a couple friends shortly thereafter, as I think a lot of black folks were doing, like rally together. And we had this conversation where we were all complaining about the same thing, which actually wasn't that the police killed George Floyd. It was that the white people in our lives were rushing to us to get this feeling that they were doing the right thing by telling us, I'm here for you. I'm so sorry. It's so hard to be a black person in this country, and they wanted us to like pet them back. They wanted us to be like, oh, you're one of the good ones. Like, thank you so much. But what it felt like was a chore. It was labor, additional emotional labor for them. So I write this piece for the New York Times. This was my first time ever writing something that blew up. It got a lot. It was called, I don't need love texts from my white friends. I need them to fight anti-blackness. That was what the New York Times re-headlined it. Because what I wanted to call it was, don't send love, send money. I thought that was perfect, but they knew. So they made this headline. Peace blows up because everybody's feeling this right now. And suddenly, I had been signed to WME and I had a manager and agents and stuff for like a couple years at this point.
Yeah.
But you know how it is. Like, none of that shit matters until you have a moment.
Yeah.
And suddenly now it's like, now HBO Max wants you to write for this TV show. Now Audible wants rap shit. Now Audible wants you to do an Audible Originals. Now all these pilots and shit you've been trying to sell are selling because your name is trending. The moment of the black pane window is open. The economic cycle in Hollywood says, oh, we want black stories, we want black stories, we want black stories. And I didn't even like, I would be lying to say I didn't think about it or notice that that was what was happening to me, but I didn't care. I just wanted the money. And I wanted, that's a cop out too. Like I wanted the money, but I wanted something that felt like love, fame, success. I wanted that I wanted to rush into that dream Hollywood life that I think I had in my head somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Make? Pardon me?
How much did you make? Ballpark.
I'm like, you know what's so crazy when someone asks you that? The mind goes to well, what did I put on my taxes? But I made a few $100,000 a year. Not a huge sum, but you understand, you go from artist, writer who's making nothing to all of a sudden, you can buy a kind of a cool car. You can get a new place.
But you're kind of living the American fiction story, right?
Yes.
You're selling black pain.
Selling it.
In your work.
Yes.
And you are personally succeeding.
Yes.
And you are personally bothered by your success.
And personally bothered by it. I got to sit with that. I'm faking it to a degree.
You're faking how upset you are about it?
No, I'm creating the anger so I can sell it. I am angry, I have anger. I am a 30-something black person in this country.
But you're professionally angry.
Yeah. I'm crafting it. I'm looking for it so that I can spew it. It's I can't serve something I don't have, so I gotta find it. And then what that turns into is now every surface can be a mirror for anger. My relationship with my friends can be a mirror for anger. My relationship to every white person I know can be a mirror for anger. Because I need more of it. I need more of it. And I'm certainly not blameless, but neither are the networks and the producers, because they're mining it from me. I'm working on projects where, and I'll hold rap shit aside because that's a different thing, because that's sort of owned and run by Issa Rae. But other entities are prodding me because they want to find that within me, and I'm looking for it too, because we're that's where the money is right now. That's where the gold is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I thought you were leading to where I feel bad about that. You keep stopping before you really get into, and I'm going to tell you have to. I was like,
you thought I would.
Oh, and he's going to say, and I feel bad about being a creator or a distributor of black pain stories and black anger. And you're and you keep sort of stopping and stop talking and look at me. I'm like, oh, he's not saying that I feel bad about that part. I just assume. Do you not feel bad about that? Not that you should.
I don't.
Maybe you should, but you.
I don't. I mean, now that you're saying it, I'm maybe I should.
I mean, the way you.
It's funny. Every time I stop talking, I look at you and you're like, there's another act here. Finish the story.
The story's not done. You're a storyteller. You know, you're ending in act 2, and I'm like, and then what happened?
I'm trying to stay honest, because the story you tell.
You didn't feel bad, but you knew intellectually that you should.
I felt bad inside. I haven't even still to this moment gotten around to did I do a public disservice? I'm still processing.
Oh,
that
do you think you did?
Me.
Do you think you did?
Yeah, maybe.
Do you think you set the race back, or you did it a bad thing for black people?
No, but if there are people who are tracking my journey, my arc, as you know how media is there will be more and more of those people over time, presumably, who are going to go back to the beginning and track my arc. Just like I'll, go to the beginning of your story. And so they might think that this is the thing to do if they go look at my story and they say, okay, he seemed to sort of start taking off when he started being angry and sad and hurt. So then they might try to emulate that same thing, but you really can't fake it. It has to go through.
Are you from the hood?
No.
So
you know that.
Right. So it was all you transposing yourself into that.
because I certainly never wrote a story that said I was from the hood.
Not that you're from the hood, but if you're telling stories that like American fiction, that you're like, we're playing to a certain archetype that the white audience expects and likes.
Yeah.
You don't have to say, I am from that, but like, why are you telling that story if that's not even your story?
Okay. I'll put it like this, because where are you from?
I grew up in Boston.
You're from Boston. What kind of town?
Suburbs.
Same. All right.
Very white
Suburbs
town.
of Maryland.
Yeah.
Probably
Which
like
suburb?
Silver Spring. So
We've heard of that.
pretty diverse.
Is that in Peachy County?
No, Montgomery County.
Okay. But you're like ish.
Very close.
It's
My
Peachy
mom's from
County-ish,
Peachy County. Yeah.
right? Like that same vibe.
Yes.
Upper middle class black folks.
upper middle class, a lot of black folks, a lot of immigrants, government contractors and people working in
Jack
the
and
government
Jill,
kind of thing. Jack and Jill.
Boulay.
All that shit, right? All that bougie shit, yes. And
You were in Jack and Jill.
yes, I was in Jack and Jill.
So was I.
Word.
Hated that shit.
Did you? Well, to
But I understand I understand the importance of Jack and Jill at that moment in history.
Yeah.
That we as a people were developing a larger upper middle class than we had ever had.
Yes.
And people wanted themselves and their children to be connecting with other people of the black middle class.
Yes.
Yes, it's exclusionary, but like my parents grew up with nothing, right? They got to somewhere. They were like, we want to be with other people who've gotten to the middle class and get our kids together with other people. So I'm meeting kids who are like, oh, you go to that private school. You go to that private school over there. Okay, we're creating a network. So we grow older together. It made sense.
To this moment, I understand why it exists. I am a little bit under fire within my own community for even talking about this.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, you know how it is. Because one of the rules is one of the actual rules, not the rules written on the website, is like, don't say bad things about the thing. Like, don't poke at the thing. Don't hyperanalyze it. Don't critique it. And I don't even think I've been that. I don't think I've like thrown toxicity at it. I just feel all the time within all these organizations that I'm part of, Jack and Jill, a Divine Nine fraternity, an HBCU, everything, corporations when I work there, I always feel like the labor of staying inside of being a part of the in-group it costs more than the value.
Yeah, you tell an interesting story in the book about you're needing to schmooze with white guys, with white finance guys.
Yeah.
And in a way,
Tech guys too.
Yeah, and it seems like you are in a position to and need to use your blackness to seem cool to win over their connection in their business.
At that time, yes.
Right, and you're sort of like exhausted at the having to use your blackness, but then you're like, well, but I am trying to get this deal. But within that, you're having to put up with witnessing casual racism. So they're not being racist to you until like later in the story, right? They think they start to get a little racist, but it's like racist expectations.
Yes.
But you have to like deal with that. And so there's a lot going on in terms of dealing with white people.
Yeah. And isn't that the story of every black person that works with white people in
certain front-facing roles, you have to like use the black flair style and cool in a way that like lures in the white people. And they're like, oh my God, Chad's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah, you don't usually hang out with black people because they don't like you.
You're doing a dance. You're doing a show for them. You're making them feel let in. You're making them feel like they themselves are safe for you. And then you go back to your hotel room at the conference and you walk in that room and you lock the door and you're literally doing it before I even get to it. You take that and you're just like, if you're even aware that it's happening, for some people you just hold it in and then you explode. No?
Yeah.
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 Do you feel this?
I have felt a tearing of like intentions, like being in news, wanting to represent black people, feeling a difficulty of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I do need a certain level of acceptance from these white people who I'm around.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I do want black people who are watching to be like, yeah, he's there for us.
Yeah.
And sometimes those two notions are what, like when after the first presidential debate, when Obama debated Romney, and the pundit world said Romney won because Romney was high energy and Obama was very like low, mellow, like I don't even really want to be here. And I was like, well, obviously Obama won because Romney lied about all his positions.
Right.
And I was told, you can't say that because, especially as a black person, you look like a homer.
Yeah.
You look crazy.
Right.
So you decided my opinion and what opinion I could say. Right. And then you see what I'm saying?
Who says that? Who said, like, is that feedback you received from audience? Is that a producer telling you that?
Yes. Yes.
Saying literally to you,
Yes.
you can't say that because you're,
Yes.
God damn.
Yes. And a black person at Fox told me they had the same thing said to them, that you can't. And it's not like you are barred from saying that, but it's like, that doesn't make any sense, dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I was like, I think Kyrie is the best player in the NBA, like, dude, you can't say that.
Right.
Like
It's like you're crazy.
in a world with fucking like John Morant, you can't say that or whatever. Like, but what if that's my opinion?
Yeah.
So that was a little bit more of how it came down to for me.
But so now, well, to that point, I think sometimes people are surprised. The last time I had a job was 2000. What 20? That can't be right. 2016. So it's been like 9 years, probably. The last time I was working in an office with other people. I live in Glendale and Queens, but most of my community's in Bed-Stuy. I went to an HBCU. What I'm getting at is like, my world is now filled with non-white people, except that I live literally in New York City. There's white people everywhere. But I think it's confusing to people. They're very surprised that I would say some things that I will say out loud, but it's because there's no one there to shut me down all the time and tell me like, you're wrong, you're crazy. Most of the voices I hear responding to me are saying, thank you for saying that out loud. I'm so scared to say that because of where I work, because of where I live, whatever.
So you got a really interesting Kanye story, which is kind of funny because I dine out on my Kanye story a lot. But I'm early Kanye. You're later Calabasas era Kanye.
I'm right before slavery was a choice. I'm right before it.
Tell me about the Kanye you were experiencing.
So I used to go out to LA for like weeks at a time for jobs or like, this is the very early start of my career. So it's like people will tell you you're coming out to work on a project, and the project, we actually never work on it. But so Terrence J, who you probably know from around,
From BT.
Yeah. I was he's the first one.
I was part of the group that selected him to be on the air.
Oh, wow.
Which is not on me.
Yeah.
He was a superstar as soon as he walked in the room.
Yeah.
Anybody would have chosen him.
Yes. Terrence he's a gift for hosting. Like he's consummate host.
He's telegenic. He was a fan favorite from day one.
I believe that. And so he had gotten a hold of a pilot I wrote. He invites me out to LA. And I had a lot of friends and stuff in LA, so I would go out there for like weeks at a time. He started bringing me into the Kanye world, really. Brought me out to play ball with those guys. Then I
playing basketball with him.
Played basketball with him several times.
How was he?
He's like a undersized power forward, 5'9"-ish.
Oh, he wants to play close to the basket?
He wants to like run pick and roll. That's what he wants to do.
Can he shoot?
No.
Can he dribble?
No.
He shoots too much?
No.
Because I would imagine Kanye's like...
No. But what he did do was, Terrence said he glammed me. So...
He glammed you?
Glammed me is what he called it. So the first time I ever played with them, they're not great. Like I'm pretty good for my age at basketball, which is to say like good for an old guy. And...
Damn.
I know.
You're the old guy?
I mean, in those arenas. I'm usually playing with 25-year-olds. So I'm playing with these guys... I pick up Kanye full court because it's like game point. So I'm like, I'm going to take the ball from this guy and lay it in. He takes like 2 dribbles, and then he kind of like smiles at me. He's like, yo, you really going to guard me full court? And I just turned my ass around and ran. It's Kanye West. Like, it's 2017. What am I going to do? I run away. Like, I'm like, you got it, Mr. Kanye. And then later on, Terrence laughed because they won. And then he's like, you got glammed. Like, you let the celebrity get one over on you because he was a celebrity.
Because he told you to basically go away. You did?
I did, which dovetails well with what I saw around Kanye during that entire
nuts.
time. Everybody does whatever Kanye says.
That's bullshit. I would have locked that nigga down.
But you're coming from a different vantage point. Like, I'm coming with nothing.
I'm feeling that rock, nigga. I can't wait to talk on you.
I feel you. No, I feel you now. I wish I had.
When I was playing poker with Jay-Z, I was dying to beat him.
Really?
Oh my God. I played one-on-one Wynton Marsalis. I am dying to beat you. I am trying my hardest to beat you.
To bust their ass.
He's very good. He beat me.
Who?
Wynton. He's very good.
What about Jay-Z?
We play poker. We didn't play basketball.
Is he a good poker player?
Fuck yeah.
He's really smart.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
He knows what you have.
Really?
Only no, because they've heard that, and we're here to hear from you.
Okay, all right.
But I appreciate the question.
I'm
we can talk
curious.
about that after.
Yeah, I mean, I write about me and Jay in this book. But yes, Kanye. So first time I ever go to his house, I go out there to like take notes, on his pontifications. Literally, that was my job. It's like have a notebook.
To take notes on his pontificate. So you're like a living notebook.
Like a scribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kanye's throwing out thoughts, you're to write them down, and then later he'll...
Nothing. I have the notebook. To this day, I have the notebook.
What did he say? So you recorded and never reported back?
I didn't even record. I had, yes, recorded.
Yeah,
like
you wrote them
like
down.
A scribe,
yeah.
yes.
But he never said, okay, remind me of the notes so I can...
No.
So what was the point? Were you paid for this?
No. I'm not sure that, I don't know what the point was to this day. I mean, I kind of get it. Like, even now where I'm at in my journey, sometimes I like to just have someone there to document, but with visually, because I'm going to use it later.
Yeah.
For him, I think he just likes to have an audience for his pontifications. Maybe it feels better to tell somebody than to talk to yourself. I don't know. But we drove up the 101. We went to his house.
He drove?
I think Terrence drove.
Okay.
He was polite to me. He snapped at me at one point, Kanye this is, he was doing his pontifications, and I stopped him, and I was like, hey, wait, you just said this other thing. Can we go back to that real quick? And it was like a record scratch. We were literally driving up the 101 listening to Runaway, which is one of my favorite Kanye songs.
It wasn't released yet.
It was released. It was like probably...
so he's sitting around listening to his old shit.
He asked me what my favorite Kanye song was, and I told him, and he played it. Yes, he does.
But
he drives around to his own shit.
Stuff. Okay.
Literally. So,
the unreleased shit, I'm fucking with you, but
very much
listen
released.
to your... Okay.
This is my beautiful...
What album was he on at that point?
He was doing Pablo, I want to say.
He's listening to the old... Okay.
Yeah, he was listening to... This is 2016, 17.
That's a lot of artists would be like, I don't listen to my old shit.
Really?
Yes, that's old. Why am I listening to my old shit?
He was listening to also a brandy joint that he has that I can't remember the name of.
That he's on.
Yeah. Bring Us Down from
Keep
Bring
going.
Me Down. So we first time we pull up to like, it's like a compound. I mean, it's out there in Calabasas. You got to go through a giant gate anyway. As we're driving up, there's like horses.
This is when he's married.
Yeah. So
she's there.
We go through security, sign an NDA, go into this. It's still being finished, this house too. And yes, Kim comes to the door to meet us there. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, again, mind you, I'm living in a studio apartment here in Brooklyn. Like, I'm in Kanye West's house with Kim Kardashian there. Their baby is there who's like a few days old. I can't remember which one. I think
First
Saint.
One?
No,
okay.
I think Saint.
Okay.
He's in a $1 million French bassinet that was a gift to them. It is a gold bassinet in the kitchen. And I go to the bathroom. And I text my friends. I'm like, yo, y'all not gonna be where the fuck I'm at. I come back out and Kanye's like, yo, you gotta see the bathroom. I was like, I just went to the bathroom. And he's like, no, he's laughing at me. He's like, that's not the bathroom. Walks me through this whole house, shows me Kim's closet, which is bigger than any apartment I've lived in New York City. Keeps walking me through to this bathroom. It has double, it's like a double studio bathroom. It has like glass walls, glass ceiling, retractable roof. It looks off over acres and acres and acres of desert. And then we go back in the in the kitchen. A chef is making brunch. There's security walking all around, gives us brunch. And I this is so on the nose, it feels fake. Kanye sits there and checks media takeout at the table at brunch in front of all of us. And we talk about what's on media takeout that day. And I just want to say again, I want to recount. He was kind, sweet to me, like wanted to feel praise. Didn't say I'm the one that will tell you the thing. And he didn't say anything crazy. Like he didn't shit on anybody. He obviously didn't say anything like
anti-Semitic.
And then weeks later, I want to say, maybe months later, it was him and Van Lathan, Slavery is a Choice. And I feel like everything from this, since that moment, has been derivative of that moment.
Well, I think it really goes back to the mom dying.
That's what people say. Can you help me I'm trying to see it that way too. People say that.
I think that he was a version of Kanye. He was her son. He's making the college trilogy. He's dating Alexis, who's like very traditionally nice girl.
Okay.
Right. I think they were engaged. And then, she passes. He kind of freaks out. 808s is the mourning of her.
Right.
Right. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasies is a fuck you back to the world. That was like, I was in mourning. I did all this rude shit because I was on tilt personally. And I think he was trying to outrun the mourning by like work, do shit. Because there's a period of time that he kind of disappears, but he's doing the fashion internship. So he's still busy.
Right.
So I'm trying to outrun the mourning. And, you can't do that.
Do you think an artist in that place of like, he was Kanye West at that time. Like he was the biggest fucking artist. Do you think you can take a moment to sit and grieve in the peak of your heat?
Yes, absolutely. It used to be that artists would disappear.
Right.
Michael Jackson drop an album and he goes away, right?
Yeah.
Janet Jackson, whatever. There was a period of missing them.
Right.
In them, at some point, I think in the 90s or the 00s, you started to see perpetual artists who never go away.
Right.
And they're constantly in your face in a movie or paparazzi or never forget about Kim is a perpetual artist. People are like, she's not an artist, she's a pop cultural artist, whatever.
I see it that way too.
Yeah, and you don't have to be that.
Really?
You can disappear. I mean, like, if you don't take care of yourself, you don't have anything to give other people. You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your child.
Yeah.
Because you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anyone else. So,
I believe that.
you have to take that 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks therapy, whatever it takes to start to grapple. Because he's still, it's not mental health. It's about trolling the country. That's what it's really about.
Why? I mean, I don't know how far you want to go. You know what? Because last time you were like, Chad, you talk, because this is the So I'm going to say, I go back and forth with this as I see him, and I also see like our tech oligarchs who I think are all still mad at somebody, their dad, their mom, a girl that they liked, a boy that they liked. And it's never over. It's never over until they have crushed everybody. I see that in Kanye, but I also see like, I think I see, and I write about this in the book, someone who thought if I ascend to a certain place in money and status and artistry, I don't have to deal with white supremacy anymore. And he even tried to marry his way out of it. And yet, and it seems like that kind of thing makes people
weird.
go crazy.
It's yes, with the married his way out of although that whole family is marrying black. So I'm not sure if you can I know what you mean, the concept of trying to marry out of the race.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the Kardashians are that space when there's they all look uniform.
Yeah.
Even they all have black men.
Right. Every Christmas card looks the same.
Right?
Yeah.
What is your question?
The question is unanswerable. I'm trying to figure out Kanye.
I think that I interviewed his mother.
Wow.
I saw them together.
Oof.
I think the core of Kanye is that, and I talked about this with Dr. West, that she was the sort of parent who worshiped the ground that he walked on. The single parent, single child, you can do anything. You are a genius. You are amazing.
Mm.
And that's beautiful.
Mm.
That is fantastic. And you see that in the documentary that she's just like, everything she is his biggest cheerleader. You are the greatest, Kanye. You are so brilliant, Kanye. And that is beautiful. And children, especially Black children, should be filled with that. And that's what home should be, a place where we're building the children up.
Right.
I think that with this specific situation, he used it to form this ego that was necessary to make these massive leaps from a teenager in the suburbs of Chicago to being in the hip hop industry, to being a producer, to being a rapper, to being a rapper, to being like a known,
rock
like
star,
good rapper, rock star. Like he needed the ego to make these leaps. Now, as time goes on, and the ego, you think, has to keep getting bigger and bigger, and we're entering trolling culture, right? And manosphere culture.
Oh, God.
He's tapping into that, and like billionaire culture, like billionaire savior culture, like he's tapping into the. So he, you know, so it's like, I actually am here to save the world. I can save the world, but also I'm gonna say the wildest things because, you know, it's just jokes, right?
Yeah.
That whole thing of, you mad? That'll. So that's sort of the game that he's playing, where the ego that mom put into him that helped him get to a certain level is transmogrified into something friggin' disgusting and ridiculous.
That is interesting. I see also, this is now I love this Kanye analysis that we're doing because also I'm 36. Kanye is such a huge part of the culture I came of age in. So 2 other things happened around this time that I was engaging there. We went to like his Yeezy office out there in the middle of nowhere in Calabasas. For people who haven't, like people rap about Calabasas and shit, but like I'm sure you have been there. But for people who haven't been there, like that's the desert. Like it's not cool. I mean, it's cool because you get space and it's beautiful, but it's not somewhere sexy to live, in my opinion. So we go to the Yeezy office. All these people are working in there, like people who have studied all over the world, people who have flown in internationally to work there, people around my age, maybe a little younger at that time. I was in my late 20s. And I learned something that I have taken with me, which is if somebody sets a compass, like a direction, and they look like they know where they're going, people will just follow unpaid. People will just follow without a contract. People will just follow to be close to the thing, which I had never seen that up close in person anywhere besides church.
You talk about Jay-Z in this book. Late stage Jay-Z is interesting. You're on like billionaire hanging with the owners Jay-Z.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did we get enough in the trade of Jay-Z ascends to running the Super Bowl and we get The Weeknd, Rihanna, Kendrick, and whoever he puts up next year, Dr. Dre. But we lost the whole Kaepernick battle because the whole thing was Jay-Z comes in and like, okay, enough of Kaepernick. I mean, I wonder if it was written into the contract that Jay-Z would go into the press conference and say, the time for kneeling is over.
Possibly.
You know what I mean?
These
Like,
contracts. Did we get enough in the trade? No. First, I mean, I think that's a.
yeah, right.
Did we get anything? I mean,
we got the Kendrick Lamar.
We got concerts.
Yes, and the Rihanna and the Weeknd and.
That's nothing. Like that's an air burger. Like that's literally nothing. I mean, come on.
It's better than Up With People.
Yeah, I mean that's cool that we got some artists that we love in front of us.
No, it's nothing. It's nothing.
air burgers.
It's nothing.
I don't think we've gotten anything. And I mean, we got end racism on the jerseys. You know, like
right.
We got. I don't know. If someone like take Jay-Z out of it. I don't know if a black person can move into a C-suite anywhere surrounded by older, stodgy white guys and make an impact. I don't know if that can happen. I don't even think that the president can do it.
Can you make an impact? I mean, I think the president, and we mean Obama, did make an impact. I think that you can make an impact a local impact as far as for yourself. You might be able to bring some people along. You're not going to be able to revolutionize the system as a minority within the system, but you can push the ball down the field.
What would it have looked like if we got what we wanted from Jay-Z in this role?
Well, for one thing, Kaepernick would have got a shot, a real shot. That practice that they had, that was bullshit. They paid him off so he would go away and it would look good. But like, give him a real shot to get back in the league.
I have a friend who works with NFL quarterbacks, and he's usually pretty radical black man. Like, that's his position on most things. He's of the belief, I just want to run this by you, because it's always stuck with me and I don't know where I sit on it. He feels like Colin Kaepernick made a choice that he had clear eyes on. And
the choice being what?
He can take this stand, and what will come, this actually dovetails quite well with the book, and what will come with it is sort of a raised international profile and all of the opportunities that come with that.
How would you know? How would you know? Not you.
Yeah.
How would one know? How would Colin know?
Yeah.
If I kneel, that will make my profile. How would you know? And how would you know that it will make my profile grow in a positive way? Really, it's about, as far as his lifetime economics, Nike says, we are sticking with you. Here's a big check, even though you're not going to be playing anymore, because we still like you and want you to be part of our community. If they're like, we're out of here, I don't know where he is financially, right?
Yeah.
But they stand by it. But like, you can't know.
Right.
It's I think there's a little bit of, I don't know if you'd call it hindsight bias, but like the notion of like, the future was knowable in the past. Like, I think he took a principled stand because he needed to say something about the situation.
Yes.
I don't think that it was about what it would benefit him personally.
Right.
I think it was about, I feel a burning responsibility to stand up given my platform.
Okay.
I don't think he's like, well, my career's almost over. I don't think he's making a personal or economic or cultural calculation. And I think that, we saw he was not a very good messenger, not verbally.
No. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Physically, as far as doing it on the field and adapting the protest, because at first they were doing it in one way, and he spoke to a brother on the team who was like, well, as a veteran, let's work this out, and they changed the way they did it.
Right.
So it's like, I have the ability to learn how to present my conversation physically.
Yes.
But then they interview him in the locker room, and he was not the best messenger. He's not Mark Lamont Hill. He's not Michael Eric Dyson. And we saw that.
Yeah.
So to see that, I'm like, I feel like you felt a burning amount of responsibility and saw an avenue. But are you calculating in 3D chess? If I do this, then this will happen, and the response to that will be this, and the response to that will be no.
So
who could even think that far ahead?
I gotta ask you this because to me it is the question in the subject matter of quote unquote selling out. Which is, I understand now that, okay, Joy Ann Reid is in the news for this. I understand there's a calculus for me, regardless of what I feel about that. I know that if I speak on it, there's growth for me in my business, in my engagement. I know that. Like, I can't unknow it, right? There's also stuff that's scary to talk about right now.
Like what?
Things around what's happening in our government, our president, dictatorship, all this stuff, right? You talk about it very, like, I don't have your bravery around those topics, those subject matters.
You don't want to talk because you're afraid of an official response.
That stuff's scary. I mean, let me be so precise about it. I don't have the reps yet that I think you have speaking to the point.
I can't even think about anything else. I had a plan for things that I want to talk about this week culturally as far as on TikTok.
Right.
I can't even think about anything else. I'm like, how could you talk about not like us when you're suddenly in a dictatorship?
Yeah.
How could you not be saying, hello, hello, you guys.
Yeah.
Like, we're in it. And I think there's a lot of people who are like, wait, what? Like, they don't even realize it.
I think some people are so scared that it makes you avoidant.
You
It's
know what
like,
we just said right before you came in? The New York Times said that they are now going to basically be more selective on which organizations are allowed to ask questions.
wait, what?
So they're basically not going to take questions from like the New York Times and like organizations that might ask a serious, real question. And
Who said this?
The White House.
Oh,
And they're
wow.
going to focus on operations that will ask bullshit questions.
So only Joe Rogan can now interview
basically,
the president.
yeah, basically, not to know, just know in the briefing room.
Oh God.
Not, I mean, we already are to only Joe Rogan is going to get only people who will give you, a baby interview will even get a chance to interview you. But now in the press briefing, real media won't even get. So now we don't have actual oversight of what's going on.
And it is nowhere. I have two questions from there. It's nowhere in your calculus that this is the thing. These are the hot buttons of the moment, and they will be good for business for you. And also, that's one question. Is that the case?
I do my best to be aware of what are my sort of people wanting to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And if I perceive that, then I will talk about that. I may not be aware of what is the issue that is on there. I may not be able to find it.
Right.
I may notice, Chad got a 300,000 view video out of that. I didn't realize everybody wanted to talk about Chief Keef today. I didn't know.
Right.
But yeah, you try to be aware of that. I mean, this specific issue is on my heart.
It's in you.
And I can't think about anything else. There's times when, yes, I'm making a calculation. People want to hear about this, so I talk about it.
Yeah.
Joy Reid's a friend of mine, so I'm like, when I'm doing posts about her, it's not, I am aware that the audience wants to hear about it.
Right.
But it's also like, well, if the audience wants to hear about it, then somebody who's a friend of hers who can, put in, like, I did a whole thing on like her show last night. Like, I thought it was valuable for people to like just talk about that.
Right. And then this question's so basic, but it is really important to me. Like, you're not scared. Like, you don't get scared of
You keep asking me questions.
I'm sorry. And then this is my last question. I'm sorry.
So I'll tell you in the form of a story. This is sort of like encapsulates sort of a lot of who I am in this regard. Mm-hmm. So I did a cover story on 50 Cent when he first blew up, right? And it was like, wow, like his physique is massive. Like up close, you're like, Jesus Christ, you are fucking huge.
Okay.
The summer after that story, the baseball steroid scandal happened with Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire. Mm-hmm. And that's when our public consciousness of steroids went way up. And I'm like, he doesn't look like that just now. He uses steroids. Nothing wrong with that. He's not a professional athlete. So the next year after that, I interviewed him at BET. And I was like, you're so big. You're not a professional athlete. Do you use steroids? There's nothing wrong. If you're not a professional athlete, it's wrong because it's cheating. If you're not a professional athlete, go ahead. Right. It's fine.
Right.
So he was like, I'm very offended at the question. My nutritionist is right in the next room. He travels with me all the time. Make sure I, eat right. Like, how could you ask me that question? That's so fucked up.
Huh.
Okay, you have educated me. Like, whatever. The next year, a story comes out in the New York Times. Here's the doctor in Westchester who provides steroids for Timbaland and Mary J. Blige and 50 Cent. I'm like, you do fucking use steroids.
Okay.
And like, what the actual fuck? You fucking lied to me. So the next year, I get an interview with him for Fuse. And it's an hour-long televised one-on-one.
Shit.
So we're going to go about an hour. So we've been there for about 55 minutes. Fantastic interview. Everything's going great. And I can see the clock. We're about to run down. And what you might describe as the devil appears on my shoulder and says, Oh, you're not going to ask him about steroids? Are you a fucking wimp? What the fuck is wrong with you? What do you think he's going to do? Punch you? You're afraid to ask? And this guy's going fucking nuts on my show. Like, are you a fucking wimp? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you look at this. And the angel's like, please chill. Like, I don't think this is appropriate. And when he says, I don't think it's appropriate, then he is like, oh, well, then it's definitely appropriate because you can't not ask because you're scared. That could never be the reason why you don't say what you want to say.
Don't be a bitch, dog.
So then I'm like, so we've talked before about steroids, and you are not a professional athlete. You are not a teenager. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you doing steroids. And we know that you do steroids. So why don't you just say that you do steroids? Now I can already hear, because all his people, or label people are there.
Right.
There's already rustling in the distance. The label is like, what the fuck is going on? Why is he talking about this? Make him stop. I'm sure the producer has already said, it's already edited out. But we haven't even finished the interview. We'll cut it out. Don't worry. And so he laughs, this like devil laugh. And then he says, a lot of rappers say you're an asshole. And I'm like, and then he's like, I just say you ask fucked up questions. And that's the end of that. Of course, they cut that whole moment out. But the point is that at the moment of, should I say X, there's definitely a voice of like, well, if you're afraid,
the good stuff
then
there.
you have to say it. Are you fucking kidding? I'm not going to let somebody fear me into not saying what I think is right. If it's not accurate, then we need to work on it, right? If we need to do more research, then great, let's do that. But like, I'm not afraid of you or anyone to not say what I think is real.
Yes.
Like that would be, how could you do that?
Yeah, that's your journalistic backbone. Well, I'm not asking any follow-up questions.
You're a fucking idiot. What else do you want to tell us about your book?
Oh man, that question. Because I know what that question means. It's like,
it doesn't mean anything. It means that you have gone through most of the questions that I asked.
That's what it means. I know that. That's what I'm saying. I know what that question means. It means I don't have any more questions, so just talk now. Like, I get it. I'm young, but I'm not totally new to this shit. Like, I get it. I don't know.
I feel like you have taken off my shirt.
No, but
I see right through
I'll
you.
just get some shit off. No, this is great. Look, this is a very valuable microphone to have in your face, so I will just get some shit off. That's awesome. What do I think? I think people are. I'm very much still tapped into like the community of people who have their head in the sand right now about their jobs, and I'm talking about black folks with fancy LinkedIn titles. Like, they're about to get fired. I mean, they're going to get demoted. They're going to get fired. They're going to get moved around the company and then moved out.
I mean, because of DEI, the demise of DEI.
I think because of the demise of DEI, like as sort of the tactical starting point, but honestly, because of the way that is empowering white people in high up in corporations to do whatever the fuck they want. Like the end of DEI is like, that's the thread, but when you pull it, I was just in Atlanta. I get in an Uber, coming out my boy's house in Smyrna. 50-ish-year-old black woman from Chicago who's been in Atlanta for 30 years. I get in the car, and you know how it is when you can feel someone has something pent up that they just have to hand off to somebody. And I, you know, I respected her, and I wanted her to have that with me. So I opened the door for it. And what came flooding in was her telling me about how everything about her job as an Uber driver has changed in the last 6 months because white people in Georgia now are treating her like a fucking slave because they get in the car and they tell, instead of saying, ma'am, I'm sorry, I'm in a rush. Would you please drive a little faster? They get in the car and they say, can you step on it? They get in the car and they say,
hurry up.
I don't want to hear that music. Turn it off. Instead of saying, I got a headache, you know, and it's like those small, those those are not small things.
Yeah.
I'm calling them small because they're interpersonal, but like the summation of all of that, it's in our offices, it's in our communities, it's in the Ubers, like those. I have so many friends right now who are like, it's too late for me. I have a mortgage, I have children, I have this job. I don't want to look at what's happening right now, but like, it feels like one of the, you said it about something else earlier. It feels like one of those moments where the sky is falling and people want to pretend like it's not because they just want to get to tomorrow. And now that I got this mic in my face, I'm just like, dude, it's happening. It's you're watching it. You're watching people who mean a lot more to their place of work than you do getting their heads chopped off. So there's my preach.
What else would you like to tell us about your book? I'm kidding.
What else is in the damn book?
Let me do my actual. Let me do some actual work because he'll make fun of me if I just toss him a softball.
Yeah, I mean,
I do ask this question
Please.
from time to time. What is the most racist thing that ever happened to you?
You ask people that? You're really asking for it too with the breakup thing too. God dang. What's the most racist thing that's ever happened to me? Now I got to think about what makes something the most racist. I mean, I've gotten the N-bomb dropped on me, but that feels so cliche at this point.
Yeah.
What's the most racist thing that's happened to me? I'll just give one that comes up. I don't know if it's the one. This is right before the 2020 election. And me and my then girlfriend, we were driving around. We had driven up to like a vineyard or something. What's that? What is that? Like near the Hamptons where they got like beaches and vineyards and stuff. We lived in Queens, but we were like, let's take a nice little weekend trip. We go up there and you will see a lot of people who resemble our president up there. You will see people who are spray tanned, look like they've been on a golf course. And there's a palpable, in some areas around there's a palpable like taking up of space if you don't look like you go there. And so we walked in some of the shops and I felt the eyes on us and, you see people doing a little bit of extra chest puffing and stuff to make sure that you don't take up their space. But it was on the car ride back after we had a pretty shitty time up there, to be honest, dealing with all that. We stop at a light. At this point, I'm driving a Jeep Wrangler, so I got the the windows and the stuff off of it so that somebody could have flicked a pebble in our car. And this guy, a trucker actually, of all people, pulls up next to us. And we kind of like make eye contact and I just like look straight ahead, leave him alone. And then he just yelled, "Go home." And I wouldn't say that is the most racist thing. That's pretty like, that's just kind of part and parcel of being a black person in this country. But I didn't even like acknowledge it as something racist until probably the next day because I was just a tightly wound, angry black man for the next 24 hours. And my girlfriend had to ask me, she was like, "Are you okay with what happened yesterday?" And I was so not okay. I was so like, I had spent those 24 hours thinking about like, what the fuck even is home? Do I have a home? Like what? He's telling me to go somewhere. Where does he want me to go? I'm already in New York City. Like where? Well, technically, I guess like, yeah, Long Island. Where does he want me to go? Where is home? And that hasn't left me. I'm like, where do you think is home for me?
Right.
I'm an African American. I don't know.
No, the notion of home is really fraught for us. And like,
what do you think of as home? Here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for sure.
Like New York City?
Yeah.
Because you built your life here?
Yeah, I've been here for a long time. And my father was here. So I feel a connection of, in the area that he was in.
Right.
I
I asked you another question. So
you did.
I fucking
You're
did
the worst.
it. My bad. I do that.
You're the worst.
I don't know. But I am curious about you. Like, you know.
What else would you like to ask?
Did you finish all your questions? Because I will ask a question if you finished.
I did. You ran through all my little questions.
Okay, I do have a question for you. This is gonna come out of nowhere, so here it comes. I have there's like a unit. I'm calling them a unit, but there's like a group of black men who are between 10 and 20 years older than me, who are smart, who have big voices in media. I'm gonna start listing them. Charlemagne, Bomani, Van. You know all these guys.
Yes.
That's
the list?
I would call that like the nucleus of this list. You're obviously included because
Not in the nucleus, but okay.
You
keep
got,
going.
well, I was trying to leave you out of it because of the question. Like,
Uh-oh.
I'll say this about Hollywood first, and then now that I'm kind of moving into this space, I have felt at times welcome by the class of guys similar to them, but in Hollywood. The Kenya Barrises, the Will Packers. But I've also sensed a little bit of like, this is our corner. That I think I felt that in college with the older guys. I felt that on basketball teams with the older guys. And I wonder,
is it that in this community? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, and I guess what I really want to ask is just like, people give you the advice to like connect to and lean on the other black folks in your industry, and that you all will look out for each other. I mean, I can go down the list: Charles King, Issa, Gabrielle Union, of people who have given me that advice.
And they've been good to you. They've been good to you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have big relationships with any of those three people. I mean, they've been good to me in that they've shown up for me when asked in small ways and in big ways on Issa's part. But like, where are the lines on what to expect from your people in these businesses? Like, do you look at them like colleagues? Do you look at them like friends? Do you look at them, and I'm asking you personally because you know all these guys. They've been on your show. Are they friends? Are they colleagues? Can you define it? Like, it feels very amorphous in Hollywood.
That's an interesting question. I mean, they are friends. I think most of the people you listed, I might text or I would text.
In what event?
That's a great question. I mean, it depends on the level of friendship. I mean, like, Joy and I are very close. I could just text her and be like, you want to go have lunch. There are people who are of an equal level of fame who are not in my direct circle. So if something big happened, like the news of Joy on Saturday was a big connector. So now I could, you know how it is. Like, I could reach out to anybody
talking about it.
And like, aren't you sad about it? Like, you're on this big show and like we can commune about this because we're colleagues. But on a normal day, I wouldn't text you, right? So that whole sort of status thing sort of breaks down of like, you can reach out to anybody on a big event. But, you have your friends. I mean, people, what can you expect? People have been really great for the most part at putting you on game, of telling me, look at this, consider this, check out this.
Okay.
These folks are hiring, stay away from that one. Where people know, where people are able to say, stay woke, look for this, look out for that, they have given that information to me. I have generally found the media folks who are my peers to be, for the most part, helpful, brotherly, sisterly, all those sort of things. I mean, I definitely come from an era when there weren't that many of us who were doing it at a big level.
Right.
So we were looking out for each other, rooting for each other, friendly with each other, might make an introduction for each other. But a lot of times it was, especially the first 10 some years of my career, was quite often like the only black person in the group.
Okay.
Only black person around at Rolling Stone, the only black person around at this or that. So I mean,
So let me refine the question, because the second question you asked me was how much money I made over a course of a few years. So I feel like I can ask anything. So I'm going to do it.
you were talking about a very specific period of your
was.
life, and you brought up that I was struggling with the money and how I felt about it.
Yes, but you just gave me some mentorship, which is to say you asked the 50 Cent a scary question.
Yes.
Because you're like, if I have the question, it's my job to ask it.
Well, yes, the emotional feeling of I cannot allow myself to be afraid to ask the question, but you do have to also modulate. And this is part of what some of the White House people are going through now. Like, I asked that question. It was cut out of the interview before I even finished asking it.
Right.
He's pissed off. His label people are pissed off. If they have another guest artist who might be controversial, they might say, we're nervous of Touré because we don't know what we don't know that he's gonna play
He's
ball.
a live wire, yeah.
Right? We don't know that he's
Right.
gonna, right? And,
Right.
and the bar is not that I say I'm gonna be cool, it's that before we walk in the room, he's not gonna hurt us.
Okay.
So now I might have violated that. So the next interview, the next superstar from that label, you might not get. So what did you gain?
Well, I mean,
You asked a question. I stayed in fidelity with my feelings, and I feel good about that. But did I just sort of put myself out there to get a penalty for no gain?
my sophomoric point of view is that is one way to look at, again, this is my 36 years of wisdom, right?
You're
That's one way to look at it, but someone else in that room might have said, that guy is a renegade. I need that guy. That's the guy we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, the interviewee side is not interested in that.
No, of course not. But
we need them. I need to get the big interviews to be the big interview guy.
That's right.
So then,
But damn,
but it becomes of like, can I find a way to ask the difficult and compelling questions without pissing you, the subject, off?
Yeah.
And without freaking out your representatives.
Is that in service? I mean, truly, like, if what we're here to do is uncover truth,
Yeah.
is that in service of truth? If I need to massage the guests to make them
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's the difference between a sledgehammer approach and a more surgical approach.
which you have now, the latter.
Well, like I don't know that I could broach the area of steroids with 50 Cent without it being offensive to him because it's stigmatized.
Yes. Yeah.
And I tried to take the stigma out of it. I'm like, there really is no stigma in this area where it's a non-athlete. Like, go for it.
But he feels like there are.
Right.
And his friends are athletes.
But like, if you could ask a difficult question in a way that was sympathetic, perhaps, so they feel like he gets me.
Okay.
So now I'm comfortable giving you that difficult nugget rather than you feel like the 50 Cent moment came out of, I felt you lied to me and you tried to punk me on a lie.
Right.
We were on camera on
What the
BET
fuck?
and you were like, I don't take steroids. You're a fucking asshole for asking that question. Like, but you do take steroids. So it's there. If we were in therapy, we might get down to like, were you taking a little bit of revenge? Maybe. Like, would I have asked it differently if the previous chapters had never happened?
Right.
Maybe he still doesn't want to talk about steroids, but like, perhaps you might say with R. Kelly, I was able to ask the question in a way that didn't implicate me.
Yeah.
It was like, for his side, it was like, that's a fair question.
Right.
But, so they can't be like, oh, that fucking interviewer.
Yeah.
Like, the problem is how you answered it.
Yeah,
Not
right.
me.
Right.
I didn't trap you.
No, you asked
I
a
just
fair
asked
question.
you a freaking basic softball.
Right.
And you failed. So that was more subtle and nuanced and surgical of like, let's talk about the bullshit.
Okay.
Rather than, you did fucking steroids and now everybody's freaking pissed.
Well, so, okay, and you have masterfully walked me away from the question a little bit, but I'm going to come back to it. I haven't lost it altogether, which is a lot of this book is me trying. It's like,
It's good you brought it back to the book. That's good. Because the publisher is listening like, Chad, talk about the fucking book. The interviewer keeps telling you to talk about the book. You're typing out there, you're asking about him. Talk about the fucking book.
please make sure you keep this. If the publisher has anything to say about me as a marketing vessel for this book, I would take them up on that on that discussion in a heartbeat. But okay, so what I'm asking is, so much of this book is about, I keep pointing at your journal as though it's the book, is about an everyman who gets sucked into Hollywood or finds his way there, however you want to look at it. But like, just like the next creative who's trying to find their way into the industry in a real way. And it's really me like looking for answers, just like I am with you right now. I'm looking to figure out, and the question I was asking you here is it all just industry, or is there actually mentorship and relationship and friendship that supersedes that we're all here to make money, we're all here to grow our brands?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I have experienced real mentorship.
From who?
From many people.
Mm.
I think about Greg Tate. I think about Stanley Crouch. Nelson George used to. There are people in the television industry you wouldn't know that I
didn't know those people.
Okay, don't brag about that.
I'm trying not to, but I'm just being honest.
These are that would be, as a writer,
Yeah.
that would be like if you were a musician and I was like, well, James Brown, George Clinton, and Bob Marley, and you were like, who? And the audience was like,
Well, take it out.
What the fuck is he talking about? If you really want to be a better writer, you should read Greg Tate's first collection, Flyboy in the Buttermilk, and Stanley Crouch, Notes of a Hanging Judge. And Nelson George did a book called B-Boys, Buppies, Baps, and Bohos, this is mainly, these three guys were the titans of the generation above me.
Yes.
And they were mainly at the Village Voice, which let you stylistically do whatever the fuck you wanted to do. And for the most part, they let you write about whatever you wanted to write about. And it was like off Broadway, in that brilliant artists would go and show the fuck out. And like, as far as writers, like those guys, especially Tate. I mean, Tate is he's the James Brown. He's the North Star. He's the fucking guy. And also the Michael Jordan, because he's still the fucking greatest. I can't write to his level. Nobody writes like Greg Tate.
What is it about it?
You'll read it. The writing has a musical and artistic quality in and of itself, to where the beauty of the sentences and the word choices and the rhythm of the work and the paragraphs is artistic in and of itself. So it doesn't matter what you're writing about,
Right.
Because the way you approach writing, because he's also a musician, the writing has a musical artistic quality to it. So I don't, you know what I mean? But
Yes, I do.
those people, and there are television people who you wouldn't know their names. But, you know, I had a thing, I would never use the M word. I would never ask people to be your mentor. And it's a lot of pressure. A lot of younger people use that word. Don't use that word.
I never ask anybody that.
No, I understand. But
Yes.
I would just go to an older person and start asking them questions. And they want to answer questions. They want to disseminate their wisdom.
Yes.
I gain nothing monetarily from sharing with you or whoever.
Right.
But I enjoy sharing
Right.
with you. And I enjoy sharing the knowledge and putting up on, like, you got to read Greg Tate, and you'll freaking call me back in a couple weeks and be like, this nigga's fucking incredible.
I'll
And
do
I'm
it.
Like,
I will do it, which
Yes.
is actually, I feel like are we wrapping pretty soon? Because I want to make sure one more thing is
why
said
do you
here.
want to go?
No, I'll sit here. I don't have to be here until 8 o'clock.
Is there something else? Well, we won't be here till 8, but is there something else that you like? Well, so you go to them and you just ask them questions. And you want to meet them on their turf. A lot of times people are like, will you meet me for coffee? Now I have to move, schedule time.
Yeah.
Meet them on their turf. I would go, when I was at MSNBC as a guest, I would go to the executive producer after the show. into his office on his time. How do I get to host a show?
Yeah.
And we had that conversation maybe 5, 6 times, and 3 or 4 of them was completely theoretical and hypothetical and like, that's insane. And after a while, it became like, well, it's not completely insane. Well, maybe it could happen. You know, it kept getting closer and closer and closer. But because I'm in it, like, well, how do you host a show? Well, what do you need to know? What do you do?
Right.
Well, how do you do this? How do you do that? And you know, and he's giving it to you in chunks, and you start to know the person. They like coffee, they like pizza, they like candy, whatever. I'm coming by your office. I got the coffee you like. How do you do that thing? How do you edit that thing? How do you know, whatever you do.
Yeah.
So now I'm learning from you, and just because I'm just in your face asking you questions.
Yes.
And that, you know, I used to just call these writers on a Friday, Saturday, whatever night and just listen. And they would just pontificate, right? And I'm just learning how a writer thinks.
Pontification.
Right? And it's just you know, I'm listening to that new album and I think blah, 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 and I'm like, this is how a writer thinks through things. Okay, now I understand.
Right.
You know, so I wasn't asking them, how do I write a great review? I'm just like,
Give them space.
what do you think about that? And give them space and just listen. How does a writer think?
Right.
How does a television producer think about these things? Just through asking you, just what do you think about things? So that's a big thing in terms of creating mentors. Going to older people, just ask them questions. Now, I'd also say you can also, at my age, go to younger people, because part of what I see too, the boomers were like, you kids have nothing to teach us.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of Gen Xers, it was like, we have a lot to learn from millennials, and we respect and are happy to learn from them. And there are definitely 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds who have put me up on game and various things, and I'm like, please help me, because the world is changing faster and faster over time, and you know, we might need help. And there's definitely people who've been like, here's what you need to understand about YouTube or TikTok or whatever it may, like, oh, okay, thank you. Now, now I understand a little bit. You know, so I mean, just being willing and able to learn from whoever and ask them, you know how rare it is for people to ask real questions and really listen to the answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not just talk about themselves and what they think.
I do, certainly do. Three quick things from everything you just said. One is I came in here shooting a video of BTS of what you have in here. And you asked me genuinely, without like implication, you were like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
And you listened when I answered. And then we moved on. Second thing, which we didn't really get to here, was I was, to your point, I don't know what the right word is to call it, but I was kind of brought into this industry in some ways by Spike Lee.
Yeah.
I used to live on Fifth Avenue and Second Street in Park Slope. I would walk up Fifth Avenue past Barclays over to Fort Greene, sit outside this coffee shop called Baba Cool and write my scripts. And one day I look over and Spike Lee's sitting there, and I walk over and introduce myself and change my life. I'm just.
Oh, you were right near the office. The office is
I was right across the street.
The office is right there near Baba Cool. Yeah.
But I wasn't like plotting. I was just
no. Yeah, just
you know,
happened.
and but to the point, like.
And that's how you met Spike?
I go over and I said, the only thing I could come up with is, hey, I'm Chad. I went to Morehouse, because he went to Morehouse.
Right.
And he's like, sit down, puts his BlackBerry away, and we talk for 30 minutes.
Dog, you in the audience does not know, Spike is not necessarily friendly. He is friendly when he wants to be, and he is not friendly when he doesn't want to be. So there's a high chance that the story you tell is, I said, hi, Spike, I'm a huge fan. And he was like, uh-huh. And that... That could happen, you
Definitely.
know?
I've seen it happen a million times.
So you're very fortunate that Spike, because he don't do small talk.
No, hell no. That's in the book.
You could talk about the Knicks.
Call him on the phone.
Or get to filmmaking.
Yeah,
but
go.
Like, hey, how you doing? He's like, I'm bored. I'm bored.
Absolutely, 100%.
You got to cut right through, like.
He'll tell you that.
Saw your film. What are you doing next? How the Knicks killed it last night.
Right. Don't give him the all shucks, how you doing? No.
How you doing? Tell me something that Spike told you or taught you about Hollywood and filmmaking.
He taught me confidence.
Oh, he's filled with that.
Yeah, and it's real confidence. He called my mom, who he knew had the keys to my confidence, and told her, your son is brilliant. Your son is doing it. Because I I couldn't feel confident until she stopped feeling scared of what I was up to. I've seen him walk, like, and I mean that literally. He walks like something's going on over here. You know what I'm saying? You've seen him walk probably a million times. He walks and people follow because there's a direction. He taught me like having a direction is in many cases more important than even like where you're going. Just moving with a momentum and a velocity. You're gonna hit a wall and then you turn and then you keep going and then you hit another wall and you turn, you keep going. I saw that stuff from him. He didn't teach me in parables. He didn't teach me by being like, you know, he didn't teach me the way people like to teach in their crafted little bars of what works. He also taught me that what works for, I'm gonna now say 100 things he taught me, but he taught me what worked for me won't work for you. He's very specific about that. He's like, I'm of a different generation. I have a different body. I'm a different person. I have a different mind.
He's already done it. So if you come up with a Spike Lee movie, you are copying.
You're copying.
It was original when he did it.
And he would point out to me people who in my generation were copying him. And he didn't like that.
Who did he say is copying him?
What's this dude's name? This is the one where I'm going to think later and be like, should I have said that? It was I don't know. It was the Dear White People thing. It was the Dear White People.
Oh,
thing.
Justin Simeon?
Yeah.
No. Justin Simeon is clearly, I think he's clear, and he's been on the show 2-3 times. I think he's clear that he is absolutely inspired by Spike. I mean, I think the first time I saw the Dear White People, because he made a short, like a piece of it for fundraising. So it looked like it was done, right? And I was like, I mean, it was like, oh my God, I want to see this film. But it's also like, this is clearly post Spike Lee. Like, and I think the filmmaking makes no bones about, of course we're inspired by Spike Lee.
Right. And he would be clear that it is both flattering in a way, as I think anyone would feel. And it's also, he's still an artist. He's still himself. To this day, I want to say he's probably 65 years old. He does not think he is, he was shooting Black Klansman when we were working together. And so I would have to meet him at like 5:30 in the morning for coffee. That was the only time he could spare. And I remember getting there, I'm probably like 29 one day. We're sitting at this diner that was across the street from 40 Acres and a Mule, which is gone now. It's been replaced by a wine restaurant. And he always would get there before I did, which was maddening because I would try to get there before him. I would sit down. He would laugh because he got there before me. And I remember asking him, he was telling me about their shooting schedule. They would have to drive 2 hours upstate, drive back. He would get home at 10 o'clock. He would be back up at 4 in the morning. And I'd be like, are you exhausted? And his answer was, I'm energized. This is what I'm living to do, you know? And that like purpose, I learned that from him. I feel crazy a lot of the time. I feel like nutty right now because I'm excited. And I wasn't excited for most of my young adult life. From college until the industry fell apart a few years ago. I was not excited. I was like an addict. I would get these spikes of energy and serotonin and then I would be down and sad. And right now I feel like a steady, I watched him like, he's so analog. I'm all over the place, but he's all over the place. He's analog. He's using a BlackBerry to respond to emails. He's not going through an agent. He's not going through a PR person. He's having his old students pick him up at the airport. He doesn't have a driver. Right. He's like, he redlined my script with a pen. He's analog. Like he's in it. He's not like, he came to my agency and sat next to me and took notes during the meeting to just have his presence there. Like it's a physical, I wonder if you feel this, but being a writer and being a creative person is a lot more of a physical job than people expect it to be. Does that make sense? There's a lot more body involved than people think that there is.
I don't know. I mean, not necessarily for me. I mean, I can't do it if I'm tired, but like, I don't feel tired from writing. I am energized by the process of writing and editing.
But you're in good shape. You take care of yourself, obviously. Yes.
Yeah.
Is that not for the job?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's just for life?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Well, I mean, I I mean, I'm a tennis player. I play every day. So,
Whoa.
so the goal of the pursuit of improvement, 1% better every day, somehow, that's like constant. So that's a whole other trajectory. And, there's tournaments that I'll play this summer and like trying to win. And like, that's a whole freaking competitive fire thing.
Okay. I'll give one more Spike thing. And this is very specific to screenwriters, but TV writers, screenwriters, like, don't try to say it in prose. Don't try to say it in dialogue. Don't try to say something out of a character's mouth. Once you start trying to do that, it's just going to come out so junky and people are going to know that's what you're trying to preach to them now. Like, say it in movement, say it in images, which is very important to me. That is why I came in here with my phone out, because I'm like, it's cute if I go back and I tell them a story or write a caption about, I met Touré and this, that, and the third, but like, just let them see and tell them they can derive their own story from that. Yeah. Spike's good at that. I think he became better at that over his career of like, take that out, take that out, take that out, take that out. Just show them what's going on. It's a visual medium. He's a visual person. Yeah.
Spike got better at that over time, I guess. I wonder if his best films are the early ones. I think the first half of the career is more consistent and stronger than the second half.
Yeah. And also, I mean, yes. I think Malcolm X, to me, is probably the best.
Yeah.
It's the best to you?
I'd have to think. I mean, it's up there. I just don't know. Is there something above that? I mean, for so many reasons, Malcolm X is a masterpiece. It's an epic. It's
incredible.
Unbelievable. It's incredible. Denzel and all the things.
Right.
And
I love Malcolm X. I love He Got Game. I love the 25th Hour. Is amazing.
You need to stop. You need to stop. You need to slow down. Because now you're glazing. Because that 25th Hour is garbage.
You don't like that?
Let me tell you something. I watched 25th Hour in a theater, and people were laughing in the final act. Laughing. That is bad. Spike.
I watched it in an unfair
bottom
environment.
Quartile Spike.
I watched it with his
Do the
film
Right
class.
Thing is top quarter.
See, okay.
Chirac bottom quarter.
Yeah.
What was the one about the prostitute? The sex line, the phone sex line?
Not She's Gotta Have It, but it was like Girl 89.
Yeah, Girl 8. Girl 8?
It's
Was it
like,
Girl 8?
It's 80 something, right? It's Girl
9? Girl 8?
It's
Something
a
like that.
number.
She's Gotta Have It is top Spike.
Yeah. But you're also, okay, you were of the age to watch those movies when they came out.
Oh, absolutely.
I was
Spike
not.
himself was a phenomenon in terms of, oh my God, it's a new black filmmaker telling stories in our way. Like, oh my God, we're so excited about that he exists.
These were all cataloged for me.
To him.
I had to go backward.
I understand, but
which
you
is
can
why
still
the Do
watch
the Right
film.
Things. I watch them.
Do the Right Thing is what?
It's not.
It's not what?
For me.
Security. Security. That you.
Like, I bet
yo,
your
I'm gonna bring that up
Jay-Z
at the
album is not my favorite Jay-Z album.
You're gonna get. I'm gonna bring this up at the Black People meeting. You're gonna be in trouble. You fucked with Do the Right Thing.
I'm not fucking with. I'm not saying I'm fucking with it. I'm just saying it probably hit different if you were alive.
Yeah, I know, but like
when it came out.
It's an incredible taut story
Mm-hmm.
that really focuses on one place, one incident, one really organic, real, authentic, interracial clash that really defines so much of what New York City was about. But I'm trying to stay away from even the political to create this amazing vignette of this world and then have them dissolve into this chaos that is so real, this epic fight where so many people come together and have this massive, and then, I mean, like,
very bold. God damn.
oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I asked you the same question. I'm like, you guys aren't scared? Like, y'all don't be scared that there's so much.
Scared of what?
I don't
what do you say? What
know.
you want me to be scared of?
Of punishment, you said official response is how you put it, which was a really eloquent way to put it. But like,
Perhaps at some point in the future, I'll be sitting in a jail cell and going, You know, when Chad said, how come you're not scared to say that shit? And I was like, silly Negro. And I'm like, that's why he started. I mean, you know, I think a lot about when COVID was first blowing up in Italy, and we were still like, wow, that shit is crazy in other countries.
Right.
And there was this video that went out on Jason Kocky's site where it was like, Italians speak to themselves a week ago. And they're like, you don't need to go to that party.
Oof.
You don't need to go to the grocery store.
Right.
And yet I did, and now we're all, and like a week ago, my whole perspective has changed from a week. And I'm like that here of like, yeah, it's all good, right? Like, yeah, I'm just talking my shit, right? And next week it'll be like, okay, now I really see why Chad was like, are you not seeing? Shut the fuck up, nigga.
I mean.
But wait a minute. Shit has gotten funky in the last
hour?
No, with Spike in the last like decade or so. We do 25th hour, which is not good. She Hate Me, which is problematic. Inside Man is very strong. He didn't write it.
I liked Inside Man.
Hey, it's very strong. He didn't write it.
Yeah.
So it stands out, right?
He didn't write 25th Hour either. You're just saying you don't care about 25th. All right, moving on.
No, I mean like it's a little different because you didn't write it. He's a writer. He's an auteur. You didn't write. Miracle at St. Anna is fine. Red Hook Summer is okay. Old Boy is fine. The Sweet Blood of Jesus. And then so we do Sweet Blood of Jesus, and then we go Chirac.
I'm not corroborating. I'm staying out of this. This is where I draw the line.
Black Klansman is very
I'll talk about Jay-Z. I'll talk about Kanye.
Very problematic.
I won't talk about.
Why you scared, nigga?
Right, there you go. Actually, I do have another question. When the devil arrives on your...
He's really not talking about Spike.
I'm not.
He really
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. There's a few lines. I'm just not going to do it. Not yet. Whose voice was it actually, the devil? Was it like a family member?
No, it's me.
It's your own
me.
voice?
It's just part of me. But you can't be scared. You're scared? Why would you be scared? The fuck is wrong with you? Scared?
Huh.
What's he gonna do? You think he's gonna leap over here and punch you in the face? I mean, really, what's he gonna do?
I don't know. Fear's not rational that way, though.
How could you be scared?
That's your voice.
Yeah.
It's not somebody else who challenged you when you were younger.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think all of our internal voices are partly coming from other people.
Yes.
But like, I don't know that, like I can identify other things where I'm like, okay, that's my father saying like, you should do this, you should do that, right? Or my mother saying you shouldn't do this or whatever.
But that's not that.
But that voice, I'm like, I don't know that to come from them.
Word. Okay. I believe
I mean, I imagine you perceive your father as, I perceive my father as being fearless. But I don't know that he would ever be would have ever been in a situation like me of like, is it okay to ask this person this question in front of all these people? I don't know. But I'm going to do it because I can't not do it. I couldn't.
Because it's the question.
I couldn't. Yeah, but I mean, like, I couldn't know you wanted to ask this and you didn't.
Right.
Because of fear? I don't even talk. I'm not like I talk to dictators. I'm talking to recording artists. The fuck you think the rapper or singer's gonna do? What is R. Kelly gonna do?
We weren't scared to ask that, but he's less scary.
No, but but you're kind of on the fear of some sort of retaliation.
Right.
The retaliation is different. The retaliation is more like we're not gonna run that bite.
Right.
So if that conversation with R. Kelly, if I am more pronounced and make it clear to him and the audience, he is a horrible person,
right,
then it doesn't run at all. So it has to come in at a certain frequency to where it can get through the gatekeepers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that interview only aired once. Because after it aired, they were like, oh, you have to stop airing that. R. Kelly, you have to stop airing that.
That only aired once, the R. Kelly?
Yeah.
When you get an answer like the R. Kelly answer, like, do you do you then judge the person that you're sitting across from?
I'm working. It's not for me to judge you. I have to get you to answer the question fully to where the audience understands what you're talking about, what you mean, what you think, how you feel.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not for me in this moment to go, that's a terrible thing that you're basically indicating you like teenage girls. The question is for me to get you to say the whole thing. So do I need to ask another question to get you to keep talking, or do I need to be quiet to get you to keep talking? You know, and that calculation changes, right? Like after 2 seconds, after 3 seconds, after 4, like, you know, you keep saying like, should I ask another question? Should I be quiet? Should I ask, you know, what should you ask? Whatever.
Right.
Like, so there's a lot more going on in my head as you're talking in a big interview than my emotional reaction of like, you're a bad person.
You're
'cause
gross.
You like kids or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't like it. Later I will get into that, but in the moment I'm like, have you explained your point?
Well, because you asked me, you were like, you're not saying you feel bad about what you did. Because you were anticipating. I guess you were anticipating. And I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out what's the part I should feel bad about. It hasn't hit me yet.
Profiting on black pain.
I mean, it's my own shit. I'm a black. I mean, like.
But you're not in pain. You said you were making up the anger to have something to sell.
I was wrenching the anger. I was stirring up the anger, but it's still mine nonetheless. Like, which one of us is not mad? Like.
Yeah, I know, but you said
I was doing it. I was putting it on extra.
You were playing it up.
Yeah.
And I thought you were going to say you feel a way about that.
No, because it's real. It's real. Like, I can't even wrap my head around feeling bad around it. I'm like, no, I mean, isn't that the way? Like, none of us asked for this shit. Like, what? I don't know. I got to wrap I guess this is the Jay-Z selling crack thing, is like, do you feel bad that that's what you did? And he's like, well, no, I was trying to get from point A to point B. And I had crack.
Well, I mean, you know, if your analogy is Jay-Z selling crack,
then I should feel bad?
There's your answer. I mean, that's the fucking analogy you came up with.
I don't know, yo. Now I gotta go home and sit with it and be like, nah, man, because I, you know, if times get tough, I'll do it again. I think I would. Yeah. I don't know.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
That was great.
Hey, if you like what you saw today, be sure to check out more Toure Show content right here. Don't forget to click that subscribe button for more Toure Show content every week.